Hi to anyone watching this. I'm going to use this kind of video as a bit of a recon of the Zwift Classics for this week, London International course. I'm going to be semi-racing it myself, hoping to do okay, but I'm in the middle of a big training period and just on the way back from COVID, so no promises I'll keep with the front over the climb. We'll see what can happen though. I'll try and talk through what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and certain aspects of the course throughout it, so it's hopefully a bit more interesting for all of you guys. As you might have noticed, I'm having a great warm-up. 40 seconds should be adequate here. Strongly recommend for anyone prepping for the big races tomorrow and throughout the week to get a much better warm-up in, because London is a very bumpy course. Certainly not a flat start, so it's better to come in. Well, it's very bumpy to begin with, shall we say, and it flattens out for a bit, then goes up again. Yeah, you definitely should be having a good warm-up before this, unlike what I'm going through. For those not aware, it finishes on the mall sprint rather than the traditional line, so there's a bit of more distance afterwards, after Box Hill, for it to come together. It's about 27.8 kilometres. We have the anvil, the burrito and the draft van, so you'll ideally want the draft for the finish. Burrito is semi-useful, anvil's not really. If you have it over the top of Box Hill, useful on the downhill. Got the burrito, not too much use. Save it for a bit later on, but so ideally aiming for that draft. Just going to try adjusting the sound so the fans aren't being picked up as much for you. Hopefully that's a little bit better. Notice a few of my videos have been a bit too loud. Okay, so I'm just sitting in the back of the pack now, not doing too much work. Well, it doesn't feel like that. For most of you it will, who are slightly fitter. So I'll watch out for the burritos. But it's unlikely that anything's really going to happen until Box Hill. Might lose a few people off the back, but oh dear, not the place to use an anvil. For those who aren't aware, you can now discard anvils in the game. Just click on the towards the bottom screen. There you've got the bin, so that's a bin for my burrito. Not really going to use it, might as well cause some carnage. I'm just sitting towards the back of the pack so I can regulate my power a bit better. If I'm near the front, I'm more likely to get drawn into the front, and as soon as I hit the front I'm going to slow down. Have to waste more, watch the speed back up again to keep at the pace of the pack. So here I've gone from might show you a bit better when I hit the front here. So I was at 52, now I'm at 51 despite being on a downhill. So I've lost some speed by hitting the front. And then in a more extreme circumstance, I'll then drop back further, have to push again to make sure I don't fall off the back. And that cycling just wastes energy. Whereas if you're at the back and adjust your power early, it means you don't necessarily have these spikes. So if you fall off the back with that concentration, you have to put in a spike, but generally you can maintain a bit smoother power throughout the race. which might save you, 0.2 watts per kilo, sometimes up to 0.5 depending on the course. Obviously heavier rides have a bit more of an advantage with that anyway. It's something really to pay attention to, and you'll see a lot of the stronger, more experienced riders doing that. Not everyone does, not everyone likes the risk, but personally I'm a big fan of it. You'll almost always find me towards the back. So one other tip I'd recommend doing for races is, if you can, some people won't have the ability to, but get ZwiftPower up in advance ideally, see who you're up against, but especially once the race has started, because some people turn up who didn't say they would, some people don't, and you can quickly just search by 15 second watts per kilo, etc., and see who your kind of main opposition might be, where you're aiming to finish. For me, I know Gary Murray, I've raced with him a couple of times for RWB Emerald Flyers. He's probably going to be one of my main opposition. Dan Ibbotson, another very good rider for Inc. Remy used to be a bit stronger, he's had a bit of time off I think, and he's coming back now. He'll be strong, he's got more potential than his current numbers suggest. I think James Hodges' Kiss, he's got 4.5 for 20, so it'll be dangerous at Box Hill. Because I've done the recon, I know the course, and so I can tell, while James may push away at Box Hill, because you've actually got a longer time afterwards, it's unlikely if there's a group of 3 or 4 chasing him down that he'll stay away. So I'm very aware on this course you don't necessarily need to be the first one over Box Hill, or even the top 2 or 3. You need to be in the first major group coming over. There's a couple home from Northumberland Street, Northumberland Avenue. You have to push a little bit. It's not that hard, it's not that steep, but some people might use it to try and drop a few off the back. The key thing about this is to make sure you're pushing over the top. Too many people just kind of get to the top, comfortable, relax, and by the time we get to the slight downhill, they've fallen off. And they have to do a lot of work. So see, looking at my speed, I want to get to about 45, well maybe not for at least 42, before I chill out again. And I see the numbers around me quite high, little group before me ahead, just want to be a little bit further forward, and as we hit the downhill, moving forward. On downhills I almost never want to be moving backwards or neutral when I go into them. There are exceptions, but few and far between. Just gives you that safety. If the gap opens up, you're moving through to close it, you're going at a quicker speed and unlikely to be caught out. I have to put the second fan, it's getting rather warm. So I don't want to be here at the front, but as soon as I get overtaken I'm going to push up my watts a little bit, then just slowly ease. Once I know my speed's just a tiny bit slower than the group, but not significantly. So it's just a bit slower. I know I've matched their speed now, so I'm easing off again. Start to see the group slowly moving away from me now. So I'm just start to do a little bit more, just try and find that sweet spot. Always heavy 2 to 3, maybe 5 seconds on the flat, look towards the bar on the right, see what numbers those around me are doing, and because I'm probably one of the heaviest in the field, I know I should be doing the lowest, or dead on. So if someone's doing significantly lower, I'll try and just chill out a little bit more. So through this section, there's just no need to worry about breakaways for 1 or 2 riders. The group speed's going to be way too quick. It's at least 5, maybe 10 kilometres to go to the base of Box Hill, and the group will catch people. In a Cat A, maybe there's a chance of a breakaway if it's a small field, but in a decent sized Cat limited field, so B, C and D, it's so unlikely. Currently going 41 at 1%, so like 44, 45, so I'd need to hold about 380, 400 watts to make a breakaway from the group, and that's not including all the bonuses they have when they surge and change of gradient, when they carry more momentum. So while it's just possible for me, that's not assuming they stay at this exact speed, so they won't if anyone breaks away. See, someone's gone a little bit quicker. Just not going to bother doing anything. For this chase, sure, and I've got to be aware that if someone breaks off and others chase, that I need to move as well, otherwise I'll get dropped at the back. For those who have heard me commentate on this course before, in London, in the opposite direction you get slowed around that hairpin. In this direction you don't, so whatever you do, don't slow up and drop to 0 watts per kilo for a bit. It doesn't make a difference this way. I'm on -1%, and I'm very safe at the back as long as I'm not moving backwards too quickly. Just going to chill out. Because there's a banner coming up, I need to get rid of my burrito, and I can't be bothered to use it. I'm towards the back. Not going to make a big difference, I'm just going to bin it. I don't really care, the pace isn't too hot, I don't want to slow it down. I don't really need to affect other riders. If the front slows down, no one's going to react. There's no real benefit to using it, but it's important I get another shot at the draft. If you get an anvil on this course, anywhere, before the top of Box Hill, I'd just bin it. If you're at the top of Box Hill, you can use it on the downhill, especially if you're trying to chase down a group. But if you're in a group, sometimes it's not actually beneficial to use if you can super tuck. So if you use it, chance you might break away and then they could come surging through you quicker than you can jump back on, and you wouldn't like to make a breakaway to finish anyway. So a few people pushing the pace, the group's thinning out a little bit in the middle, which means it's moving quicker. Just going to move a little bit further up just to be safe. Not going to do anything silly, just gently moving up. See behind me the gaps, 5 meters is the magic number, so brown is currently off. See on the side bars I'm going to do 5.6, really working to get back on. Being a bit mean, but I'm not going to make it easy for him. I'm just going to move up slightly. Oh, got one guy off the front as well. As I said earlier, there's no point chasing. Others can do that work if they want to. Again, on this section, I know nothing's going to happen, so I'm just dropping down a gear, letting my legs spin it out a bit more. Motorbike bike atom, you just have fixed gears, so it's just numbered. Lower number is higher cadence for the same wattage. Which I presume is like a smaller chain ring essentially. Quite sure that was that comment in reference to. Oh well. Maybe they thought it was people thought it was a sprint point or anything. Now there's going to be a downhill at the end of this. Pretty sure. Or maybe I can't remember the course that well. Pretty sure it's a downhill. I think Box Hill's right in the middle of the course, starting about 12 and a half I think, so it'll finish about 15. So yeah, we'll be heading downhill into the river now. So see the person to the left of me, in the zigzaggy white, black, he's used his anvil, but it's going to carry on by the time we hit this uphill. Again, I wouldn't recommend using it here. He'll carry a bit more speed because he's heavier, but he's going to drop a little bit back as he sprints. He's carried the speed not too bad. He's having to put in a lot of work, see him doing 5.2 and 4.2 there. So I'm down at 1.5, 2-ish. Now you can use it then, but we didn't gain any benefit from it. To me, it's not worth the risk, short of a guaranteed downhill, high percentage. I've been them 9 times out of 10. You can see still a lot of little 1%, 2% and minus 1%, 2%. Just want to be careful you don't float to the front like I'm doing there because I'm not concentrating. Today's probably not going to be a good example of me chilling at the back because I'm not 100% focused on the riding. Need to be careful of this. If you come over up here and then turn the left of the bridge, there's a little bit of an incline, can be caught out by it, especially with the escalator downhill coming afterwards. If you do let a 5-10 metre gap open up the back, you do see the occasional person dropped. But solo down the escalators, 5-10 kilometres an hour slower than group speed, and you won't make that back up, especially the speed the group then carries. One thing I would say is, I talked about that most downhills you want to be moving forwards into, especially if they're super tuckable. This is one where you don't, because the speeds are so high. Anyone who touches the front gets smashed towards the back, and at high speed it's hard to make that up again. There's no need to fight for position, but I want to be very neutral coming into it, because what's going to happen is the front is just going to recycle to the back 4 or 5 rows in a row, and it's very easy to end up near there and doing the same thing. So I just want to be very chilled going into it. It's already flattening up as others are doing similar, and just avoiding that front. One tip, just never be afraid to go down to like 0 or well below 1 watt per kilo. It's absolutely fine. If you hold 0 for a couple of seconds, then you might start to fall back, especially if you're not up high speed or on a decline. But it's fine getting close. So I've maintained my position fine, I'm still holding good speed. So as you come into Box Hill, it's a little kick at the start. It's a bit steep at the start as well. Probably won't comment too much on that because I'm going to be blowing. You want to push a bit harder to begin with and then settle into a rhythm. And remember, just after the top, like 5 minutes after the top, you've got a second kicker which you do need to work on. I'll see you all in about 7.5 minutes. There isn't a ton of reason for people to push the pace extremely for Cat B, but we will see it go up, and it will be a tough effort. Looking around 4.5, suspect up there, which I hope I can manage. Just want to be a row or 2 behind the front, maybe 3 or 4 is fine in a big enough group. Mentally you want to keep in touch. If you let a gap open up, it's very hard to close it, even if you have the power. And then just playing the percentages. Once you're in the trees, it chills out a bit. like most people, I'm a spinner. I'd much rather keep the cadence up, just my aerobic stuff. So I'm not a very well trained cyclist. So my legs aren't necessarily strong. So my lungs, as easy as I'm easing. And push up again. So the base is in 2.9. Everyone around me now is at 3.5, 3.4. Shows the draft benefit. And slopes ease out. It's about keeping the contention as long as possible up here. While speeds are slow, just looking out for who's in what kit for my main targets. Seeing Gary Murray's in a black kit, all black. It's not Gary Murray's. Yeah, Gary Murray. Losing it a bit. Dan Ibson's in the alien kit for ink, unexpected. Some people might push for the line, don't care about them. You conserve as much as possible between here and the second climb. Just dropping down and letting my legs spin up, get rid of some of that lactic acid. Already got my van, so don't need to worry. What I need to watch out for though is anvils over the top. So I mean top 3 over the top-ish, top 5, but not first or second. I'm gonna have people in front of me I can push through if it needs. Someone comes flying through, I want someone else's draft. Help me bridge. That's a terrible, terrible place to use an anvil. And I'm so sorry that he is going to get dropped so hot. Nice knowing you. Let people come through me over. Keep working it. Don't ease. Absolutely fine. Hurt me a little bit. Not enough to make a big difference. In tuck. Not being overtaken drastically, so I'm not worried. The anvil will go. Maybe. See, Remy used his anvil too late there. If you notice behind, the gap is stretched out over 5 meters quickly. He'll probably make it back on. He's a great rider, but he hurt himself doing that, and he might be dropped into a chase group. And take a drink if you can in this section. It doesn't flatten. It's going to be safe. Recovering all the way down. So, once I had a bit of a breather, I'm going to check ZwiftPower again, see who I'm with, see what their strengths are, and so I know what I should do come the sprint at the finish. But I need to push the pace now, keep it apart, but I can work with them, etc. If I need to go early, if they've got a bigger sprint than me, just need to come out here just before the turn. You want to get out, you can go back in, but it's worth getting out just to be safe. See how the gaps have opened up on the right hand side? Now, looking at the rides around me, Remy is the only one, and Dan Ibbotson with him, I'm really worried about in the sprint. Doesn't mean the other guys aren't good, they are, but I know I can beat them most times. So, realistically I should do some work here. I've got to be prepared for the escalator again. As long as I do a little bit of work, less than the chase group, let them burn themselves out a bit. Hopefully someone else will take over. I want to come off the front before the escalator, get some recovery in. Oh, that was odd. Need to let someone through. Bad position here. There we go. Chase group 10 seconds, 9 seconds back, that's quite big. And you kick hard up here. Need the group to come with me. I'm not going to go too fast. Now I've seen they didn't respond early enough. And keep working over the top. Tire everyone out. Once you're almost through, you can let him come through and they do the work. He looks like he wants to go solo. I'm not going to let him get a big gap. People behind going to make it back on, so I'm going to do no work here. Let the others pull. I want the two behind us to latch on, ideally. Group of 5 will keep away, and the next biggest sprint is 11.3. Andre Grebe, Hokuba. Oh, he's in the group behind, ignore me. So Oswald is not on ZwiftPower, so I need to watch out for him at the front. Italian. Otherwise, comfortably quicker in a sprint than all of them. Now that group's joined, or at least one of them, we should hopefully be able to keep away the chase group. We need to be holding similar or above them on the front. I know I've got a lot of sprint in the back. Oswald's back on ZwiftPower. She's got 13 watt per kilo sprint, so need to watch out for him, because I can't work as hard as I was just planning to. If I knew I had a 3 watt per kilo advantage, I'd have pushed at the front here, and I would have tired myself out a little bit, but I'd still have the sprint in the back. But it's now I need to watch out for Oswald. On ZwiftPower, I only go into profiles. I mean, I could do, but anyone with a good 20 minutes and a good watt per kilo is likely to have a good 1 minute power. And on this course, early attacks are usually the winners, not the person who makes them, but the person on their wheel. Unless they bail super early or go way too early. If you want to wheel surf the early attacks, sprint through, 'cause it's a -1%, I think, something like that, or even -2%. I know it's plus, ignore me. So, either way, it's fairly flat. Point is, you're not going to make a huge ton of ground up. And the line is deceivingly far away, so people get scared of going too early. See how little Oswald's doing? He's playing exactly as he should. Don't want that gap to close. It's very realistic. Over 6k on undulating stuff. But I'm not going to burn myself now. And there's another sprinter, so I'm going to keep it apart. See there, I didn't slow enough. I was doing less than 1.5. With a small group, positioning is really important, as is paying attention to the numbers. One of the first things I'd recommend, trying to get good at racing, is practice these small group finishes and drafting small groups, then progress onto bigger groups. If you can't nail your small group finishes, then it's where your best opportunities are going to disappear by. Big group finishes have an element of luck, no matter how good you are. Whereas small group, you're far more in control. You want to be able to win them if the opportunity presents itself. And then once you learn to draft in a small group, big groups are so much easier. So taking 2 seconds in about a kilometre and a bit. And it'll be quick enough. If they maintain that rate. Well, 3 ink guys, with Everton who's a good sprinter behind, there's a chance it may work for him. But it's individual racing. It doesn't happen as much as it should. So Oswald's drafting pretty well. One little tactic I might try, just opening that gap up and sprinting back to the pack, especially on a downhill. See here, 4 in front of me, 3 behind, that's 7. I can break that chain, but he's already moving in response, so I'm not going to manage it. That's what I'm looking for, and to stretch out that back, then push and get him over 5 metres, make him work a bit, make him a bit concerned. When we get to the climb, I'm going to push very hard, but not, I don't want to break it, I don't want to get more than 5 metres ahead, but I want the group to work. Top guys in the group behind don't want to work, which means the pace might be a bit slower, but I think they're going to catch on. Just slowing so they can get my wheel. There we go. Davidson's trying to bridge. Want him in no man's land for a bit. I'm not going to ease. Now we can chill. He's done a big effort there. So right, to be fair, but don't want to fill that gap for him. So it's an Oswald the targets. If one of them goes, I go. So here's just all about resting. Give a bit of chat, put them off. Yes, he never said what power up he has. Knowing him, he'll have saved a draft if he gets one. That's an odd attack. That is definitely an attack up front as the group's catching. So I'll just move with it. Use the coalition guy, come through. I don't really want to do the work bridging. It's quite far out. He could very well stay away if people don't chase. He needs about 5 seconds, I reckon. The bunch should stay together around the bend or just after the bend. I want to do a little fake attack. Oh, Remy. Oh, I can't communicate to him very easily and this gap's opening up. Hopefully he gets that. That gap's big enough to stay away. Need people to chase. Go Remy, go! They're blowing. Come on Remy. There we go. Others will come with. Got someone else in front of me. Oh no. Balls. A bit lucky there. Thank you so much, Remy. Move my bike back in position. Thanks for watching, everyone. So, one thing there is just to keep in touch. Front people. I wanted to slow and have someone else lead you on that corner, because it meant on that final straight, always in someone's draft until we get to the sprint segment. And once in the sprint segment, no one's making it back if you keep pushing. And if you slow down pushing like I do, maybe they will. But you got to draft at the front. If you get too far back, you can't bridge across. Speeds are too high. If you get to that bend, no one's made a move, you got to be really ready. About 50, 100 metres before the segment, I think like 300 metres to go. Go, no matter where you are, no matter if no one's moved. 300 metres, 250 metres should be enough for the win if you've got a good sprint. Until then, you want to be in someone's draft. And at that point, I've never seen someone not go at 200, 250 to go. There's a good chance you might be level with someone anyway. Yeah, thanks for watching. Good luck, those racing it.